So welcome today, Big Bear City, to General WMJ Fox Airfield. Let's call it Fox, because later you'll see that, for example, tower position is called Fox Tower. Let's call it Fox or General Fox. It's our 90th, I don't know how to pronounce it, flight. And let's go. Weather is empty because we will do weather in here. Yeah, so first observations. As is usual for us here flying in California, away from the coast, the weather is clear. We have even temperatures have gone down quite a bit. We are not in the 40s anymore. Visibility is great. We don't really have any clouds there at all. And we have a slightly higher pressure than that is standard, meaning a little thinner air, denser air. So everything is basically playing to our cards for today because we need to take off from a high elevation airfield. For to be complete, let's look at the sky, at the clouds, basically nothing. Temperatures at surface, we are around, well, here at elevation we are between 5 and 10, and then later when we are lower, that's probably between 10 and 15, so quite crisp air. Still, even though it's 5 to 10, it's still above the international standard atmosphere levels for our elevation, but that should not be a problem at all. Winds. The surfing winds look kind of messy and all over the place, but as you go a little bit higher, the situation gets more stable. Let's say that for the majority of our flight, well, we'll actually fly quite high, so we might have a little bit of headwind, but the component will be around, let's say, 15 knots headwind, so at least we'll enjoy the flight a little bit longer. Then when we are coming lower, it's from a different direction. And then for us, what's important is on our final approach, it's gonna be crosswind, but no headwinds, no tailwinds, most likely, which will result in us having a little easier calculations on the final approach fix. So that's good. I believe that we don't need to lose any more time with this anymore. Seems clear enough. So what else do we have? Before we go to the route, I wanted to speak about some takeoff calculations today. Let's get how long runway do we have? We have it's a 5,800 feet runway, right? Yeah, 5,800 feet runway. So quite long enough, even it's higher. But let's see how much do we need. This is an example of the Piper Comanche charts. And I believe that we covered that multiple times already. So just very quickly here, let's first do the takeoff distance calculation. So you find the temperature, and this is just an example that I did in the morning, right? If I go and try to find the temperature that is there now, it's 8 degrees, and so I don't need to count that much. Let's do the observation here, and I believe it's 45 degrees, yeah, 45, right, Fahrenheit. Yeah, I believe, yeah, 45 Fahrenheit, because this is in, yeah, so exactly how I imagine, 45. Then we have a pressure altitude. I did like this airport elevation. We have a slightly higher pressure today, so the pressure altitude will be actually a little bit lower. But let's count with the higher, always err on the safe side. So add, all those errors. Calculate with a little bit less headwind, a little bit more weight, just so you are safe. Better to count with that than with lesser numbers. Then we go horizontally to this line. we go along the lines here to our gross weight, which I calculated like 2,700 today. Then again horizontally, and here if you have headwind you go down, if you have tailwind you go up, usually with like twice the slope of going down. Most of the charts will also have these upward slopes, and why I did this was that in the morning it was kind of assumed that there might be a little bit of tailwind for the runway, because there is only one runway that has like a departure procedure. So what I did was just went up a little bit and then went this, and I see that my takeoff distance 250-foot obstacle, altitude is about 3,300 feet. It'd probably be a little bit less. I calculated a lot of errors, and also the wind I believe is actually now headwind for the runway that we would be using, so maybe it's less. A lot of all those charts will usually contain the conditions that you need to have. So for example, here it says 18 degrees slotted flaps, so that's the calculation for having the flaps out, and also the takeoff speed. Now, we also need to find out if we are able to climb properly. For that I actually need to go find the departure procedure. So we have one graphical procedure. It's not SID, it's ODP, obstacle departure procedure. You can tell it by having the obstacle here in parentheses. And it says that takeoff, which by the way we don't need to adhere to as a Part 91 flight, but it's always good to do that because they are there for our safety. So for runway 8, it's the minimum 1,000 and the cloud needs to be at 1,200 feet and 2 miles visibility, or standard with minimum climb of 282 per nautical mile to 8,000 feet. So that means first like 1,300 feet AGL. These charts will always give you the minimum climb gradient in feet per nautical mile and not in feet per minute, because that basically depends. This is like Spurs. Can you mute yourself, please?
Sorry.
No problem. Yeah. So this is something that is valid for all aircraft, right? And then it's on the aircraft pilot to actually determine what feet per minute rate he needs to maintain in order to get this. And also it depends on the wind, right? So if you have headwind, then it will help you climb in a sense that you will have lower ground speed and you will have more time to climb to that altitude than if you had a tailwind. So it's in nautical, like feet per nautical miles. And then we need to find out if our aircraft is capable of doing that. So first we need to find out how fast we're gonna climb, or we can expect to climb. Here the Comanche has a rate of climb versus density altitude chart. It's pretty straightforward here. And for that we need to know density altitude, right? First of all. So if we go and find out what our pressure altitude is today, because we'll need to do that, we can do it easily by, if we are already at the airport, for example, we can just dial 29902 here, and we will read our pressure altitude. So it's 6,000, let's say 6,600 something. And then we will plot this altitude. Can I click it? Actually did something, so I should be able to click. Yes. I calculated with like pressure altitude. Sorry, I need to find the density altitude. I'm skipping. Sorry for that. For that, we, for example, can use the E6B we did it like we found it online, and now we will use this one. So we need to have air temperature, and if I look here, we have around those 8 degrees, or let's say 6 degrees to 46. So let's use 8 degrees. That's actually worse. So again, air on the safe side. So we have like 8 degrees. So it's about that where I hold my mouth. Then I will move it. So I'll align that with 6,600. So let's say I align it with 7,000 again, just to be safe. And I will read that my density altitude here is about 8,000. It's probably a little bit less, right? But let's calculate it more so we are safer. 8,000 feet. And remember, it's relatively cold day, right? But again, it's still higher temperature than is standard. So 8,000, we go the horizontal line there. I calculate maximum like gross weight here again. And I found out that my rate of climb in feet per minute should be around, this is 800, so let's say 850 or something like that. Now, I need to know my ground speed, right? So, because this is the climb and descent angle, table, and it obviously calculates with ground speed because that will determine, what actually the climb angle or descent angle you have. And let's say that I would be climbing, let's say that it would be 120 knots, right? Considering like the wind, we are quite high, so we need to account that our indicated airspeed will translate to the true airspeed and ground speed in a way that it will be higher than our indicated airspeed. So let's say that it's 120 knots, and I will find that 850 or closer to it on it, because this is my climb feet per minute, and then from there I will see that my feet per nautical mile is 425, which is higher than 283 that the procedure called for, and I'm safe to do that if the aircraft of course performs nominally, and I even have some reserve in there. Is that clear?
Sounds clear, yeah.
All right. So anytime you are actually planning to fly quite higher than you are used to, or maybe it's a hot day, even low pressure or anything like that, take your time and see if you can do it. Today we have clear weather, so it's not that crucial because we can see, and we can avoid the mountain if we need to, or any obstacle. But in the clouds, you cannot, and you really need to be certain that you are able to perform the takeoff and climb safely. All right, let's go to route planning for now. I already kind of revealed what route I planned, but no matter. The departure procedure, simple, and it's an RNF one. So even though you can identify this point by the distance from the VOR and the radial from the VOR, here you cannot navigate to it directly unless you have RNF or some vectors or anything like that, at least not reliably. Of course you can hit it, in a way that maybe you end up there or there, but to really fly properly you need to have an RNF equipment. Yeah, it's pretty simple. So you climb straight away to Ocaso. You need to basically cross it. It's described it. So climb via course to Ocaso, waypoint maintain 11,000 or as assigned by ATC. And if not at 11,000 or at assigned cruising altitude upon reaching the waypoint, climb in holding pattern unless otherwise advised by ATC. So again, if you're not at 11,000 by then you should basically climb in the pattern before continuing en route. It's 13 nautical miles. We should probably be at 11,000 by then, unless you have some low power aircraft. So that's fine. Then from there, we can take Victor 386 all the way to Palmdale, VOR, and from there we will see that we have an approach starting from there. As far as what we can see on this en route chart, so some symbols or stuff. So what is the minimum altitude that we should file? Yeah, what is the altitude, minimum altitude that we should file? Who knows the answer for our flight? Just make it like that so you have all the information visible to you. What would you file?
For this flight, I'd file 12,000.
And any reasoning why?
It's the initial segment has 11,000 MEA. And I guess since we are going westbound, it has to be an even number, and the next even number is 12,000.
All right, I agree. So you file 12,000. Is it safe to also fly it at 10,000?
If you are GPS equipped, then I'd say yes.
I'd say yes as well, because we have this star here, which is something called MOCA, minimum obstruction clearance altitude. So when flying at this altitude, it will guarantee that you will not hit anything, but you might lose the navigational signal from the VOR. So if you have GPS, then it's fine. Yes, correct. So that's that. So I would file 12,000, fly there, and I would probably stay at 12,000, but from Sogi, because you have this T symbol, you know, at the intersection, that means that the MEA, a minimum en route altitude, actually changes there, and for us it would change to 9,000 feet. From the weather that we could see, that maybe it would be beneficial to, you know, descend a little bit, because winds, let's see again, winds are predicted to be a little lower. So at 12,000 feet, we maybe will have like 25 degrees almost headwind, and at 9,000 feet, it's less, and it's at a more at an angle, so it's like more favorable wind. So actually, it would make sense to descend, you know, en route already, in order to save some time and fuel. And at 6,000 feet, it's even like in the different direction. So also from this, since the wind direction is changing or is predicted to change at those altitude quite much, I would also expect maybe some turbulences along the way. If I see the turbulence, you can see that yes, we have light to moderate or some light turbulence that we can expect on the way. So be aware of that, that it's probably going to be a little bit choppy today.
I'm playing the devil's advocate now. So, since we need to depart GPS and we need to have GPS to actually do the departure, and since we are allowed to fly below the minimum if we have GPS, it is safe. And because I'm going to fly a pressurized airplane, would be valid to fly 10,000 all the way.
Yes, I believe that it would be valid. The thing is that basically, normally, if you have also some GPS minima or minimum altitude, it would be also stated here like as a G. So the fact that it's not there, I would still consider filing 12,000, but then I could negotiate 10,000 with the ATC. That's at least what I would do.
Okay.
But tell me if I'm wrong.
No, actually, this was not a test question for you.
I know.
It's an edge case, and too many factors go in, and you need to be honest. I lack right now to think what is the legal
Yeah, that's something that I cannot say 100% myself for sure. You know, if it's
But
legal to fly 10,000 or not.
as
Yeah.
a pilot, since it has the 9,400, because I don't want to crash anywhere, and since I have to fly west, so it needs to be even. And since I'm pressurized and I don't want to go with an oxygen mask, my gut feeling will say I will file 10,000 and say immediately to the ATC that I will intend to fly
Yes.
10,000.
Yeah, we can
I
also.
guess you could say if you wanted to fly the obstacle departure says you have to maintain 11,000, or as
Or
assigned by ATC, so you
yes,
could,
yes.
yeah,
The thing is
ask
that
right away for 10. Yeah,
the thing
right.
is that if you look at the section here, you can see that the higher terrain was to the south of this Victor Airway, right? So here the terrain is not that much of a factor anymore. Yeah. So basically, let's also touch about the why not to fly that high, in unpressurized cabin. In the US, you have the limit of 12,500 feet that you can stay at till that altitude like indefinitely. If you go above 12,500 all the way to 14,000, you can be there maximum of 30 minutes without oxygen. And above 14,000, you need to have oxygen, all the time, right, as a pilot. In Europe, I believe that those limits are a little bit lower. I believe that they speak about like already from 10,000 that you should consider, having oxygen. The thing is that an untrained like person or with some condition will start to feel hypoxia a little bit sooner than, for example, someone who regularly goes like to the mountains or something like that. So
Yeah.
you
The,
also need to
the,
know
le-
your personal limits.
the legal limit is 10,000. You need an oxygen mask to go above.
Is it
And
in Europe?
also, yes,
Yeah.
and also it lowers. One factor is what you said, but human factors also say that if you are a smoker, for example, you need to take away 2,000
Yeah. So in
feet.
Europe, legal limit 10,000. In the US, basically 14,000, right, for continuous usage. And from 12,500, it's just 30 minutes that you can spend, above that. Yeah. I must say that I have been highest, in real life in unpressurized at 9,000 feet, and I didn't really feel anything. But that's also because hypoxia can be so insidious that you might even not feel anything, right? But I was trying to consciously, look for any symptoms and didn't find any. So I guess it's not that bad with me yet. But yes, this is a valid consideration to actually go only to 10,000. All right, then we have some X here. I believe everybody here should remember that it stands for minimum crossing altitude. And if it's there, it will also have some notes. And in this case, it applies for these Victor Airways when going southwest. That means that line here, and we are not going there, so it doesn't apply to us. And do we have anything more there interesting? Also, Palmdale has a minimum crossing altitude, but again, we will be on the approach already by then, so that's fine for us.
I guess it makes sense to descend even lower after the Apple's, I don't know, waypoint,
Yes.
because the feeder to the of the VOR Bravo has a minimum altitude of 5,000 and the holding pattern 4,500. So I guess you can
You can definitely, yeah. But again,
Yeah.
you need. We will speak about that on the approach part. But yes, you
Yeah.
can descend earlier if you wanted to, and if you have a clearance for it. But again, if the winds were favorable, up, I would stay up, because it would save me some fuel, and I would also have more options if my engine quits or something like that if I'm higher. The last thing I see is, yeah, so this, for example, this is the total distance on the airway from VOR to VOR. Here it's kind of unusual because we don't have like a straight line. It goes 109 miles all the way to PSP. So from Palmdale all the way there to Sogi and all the way down here to PSP. And if I look on some other one, I can see that PSP is Palm Springs, right? So this 109 is all the way from Palm Springs to Palmdale. So just one interesting fact. As you can see on en route L4, it's not even mentioned because both viewers are on that chart, but on L7 they specify that, so you don't forget that it doesn't end anywhere close to it. Yeah, we won't really cover fuel calculations. I believe that it's everyone is already accustomed to that, but be sure to bring enough fuel for the flight and some extra to 45 minutes that you need to have legally. As far as the filing of alternate goes, again, we have clear weather, so we don't really need to file an alternate, but you are welcome to do so if you want to. Alright, so departure. I believe, do we have an ATC? I believe we had an ATC before we started. There was a LA Center. I don't know if they're still there.
No, it doesn't look like it.
Yeah. But since this is an untowered field, we have two options as always. We can DFR VFR and get the IFR clearance in the air. In that case, we'll be squawking 1200 on our transponder. If you decide to get an IFR clearance on the ground, then you would need to do that on the ground from the LA Center here in Vatsim. And so it's really your option. It's kind of easier to get it in the air if you can, because it's shorter, and you can basically decide when you're gonna ask for that. Continue en route and arrival. Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. Since we have the
Can
sure.
I interrupt? It's good to negotiate change of flight rules in the air, but maybe it wasn't it's much easier. But in general, you prefer to actually use ZFR.
Use what?
ZFR.
ZFR. Okay.
So ZFR and Yankee FR. So ZFR is start VFR and then you switch to IFR and you write it on the flight plan with a slash IFR to the point where you switch to VFR, to IFR. So ZFR is VFR to IFR and Yankee FR is IFR to VFR.
Yes, I actually heard about that you can do that. Never done it or investigated that myself. The only thing I remember is watching some real-time, real-life videos from people that was again in some Boston area. They really departed and just got the IFR plan, filed IFR plan, in the air already. But I don't know if they filed, ZFR or something like that. So I cannot comment
Oh,
really on that.
yes, so what I'm trying to say is that you are valid to send. So before you go to the plane, you go and you put VFR. If you put VFR, you need to put to VFR. You cannot use run airways. Okay, it's not considered to be IFR to put airways. You need to put a flight plan, VFR flight plan. And then while you're flying and you have all the workload, you talk on the radio and you give the flight plan by voice. It's
Mhm.
not easy. And usually you have to wait because they have to put it on the system to see if there is conflict. Probably they will say, okay, go into an orbit, and it's a mess in real life. That's why it's preferred to,
Ah,
if you intend to switch, you file that because the IFR part is already pre-approved. The ATC actually gives you a squawk code because the only thing that is changed is the VFR part is flown by VFR rules, meaning that you have the responsibility and the ATC does not provide you separation services, but still they monitor you.
yeah. What I saw really in that video was that they really filed IFR flight plan, like full IFR flight plan, on the ground. It was approved and everything, but they still, took off VFR because there was a lot of traffic, in the pattern and so on. And then when they were en route, they just activated that IFR flight plan already in the air.
Okay, that is something exceptional. If you say that yes, because in order to depart IFR, you need the
Yeah,
tower needs to give you a separation of
yeah.
2 minutes, etc.
But
That's completely different. That was an IFR flight that was just given
it
an
was
exception to
it
yeah.
was not a towered airport, so really, uh, if I were flying from the towered airport and I would need to speak to ATC from the start, I would not even consider departing VFR and I would do it IFR, all the way. But from these untowered ones, I believe you can do it like that, at least in the US. And also in the Europe, if you are from untowered, then you don't really have any other option. But yeah, I don't know how to file it like with this ZFR or YFR.
It's a thing
It's
in
it,
Europe mostly.
it's very easy. It's actually it's a matter of habit. Europe or US, it's
Yeah,
legally it's valid to both sides of the pond.
yeah, yeah,
The thing is that maybe they don't like to use it.
yeah. That's
Uh,
that.
uh,
That's also possible.
it's I just wanted to mention it because it is really a lifesaver. I hate giving flight plans while I'm flying. And secondly, when you are in an airport where there is no departure, or when you are arriving to an airport where there is no arrival, there's no approach, there is no other way that you are going to get your flight plan approved.
Yeah, yeah. But what I wanted to say is that in this case, that if you file the flight plan, IFR flight plan on the ground, you don't actually need to give it, while in the air because they already have it. But again, that's really fine point. So thank you for raising that up.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with you. It's just I just wanted to make awareness that there are another two flight rules, and maybe in the next in the next group flights, we can incorporate them.
Yeah, we can. We'll see. Anyway, what I wanted to say is that, as Christian already pointed out, the minimum entry altitude on this path, on this feeder route from Palmdale, is 5,000 feet. So when we go back here, and let's say that you are still at 12,000, right? And you get a clearance to cross Palmdale at or above 7,000, and you are cleared for VOR Bravo approach. Circuit to land runway 24. Today it's more likely that it's gonna be runway 06 instead because of the winds. Then because of the profile of this approach, that this is quite short. These are 13 miles, and then you have a reversal, course reversal, and then just 3 miles, even less, to from the final approach fix to the airport. you would not be able to descend from 12,000 if you start from Palmdale. On all other approaches that we've flown, it was actually quite alright to start that descent already when on the published part of the approach, and hence it was not really needed to speak to ATC that you are descending. You could just say, okay, well, you could just repeat that we will cross PMD at or above, and we are cleared for the approach. Because once you are on the published segment of the approach, you don't need to tell ATC that you have actually started descending. Whereas if you start your descent before reaching Palmdale, you should always tell ATC that you are leaving 12,000 and descending to 7,000. They gave you clearance to do it. In this clearance, they gave you permission that it's at your discretion to start your descent, but they still expect you to actually inform them that you have started that. So don't forget about that. Yes?
About that. Is this US specific or Europe specific?
It's definitely valid in US, and I don't know in Europe.
Because in Europe you sometimes receive an instruction like when ready descend, I don't know, 10,000. And I thought I was supposed to inform the controller when I start descending, and I informed him, but I just ended up confusing him. So I don't know if it's valid everywhere or if it's.
Yeah, I don't know about Europe. I know for a fact that it's a thing in the US, but again, we are on VATSIM, so even some controllers might not be aware of it, right?
When you hear the when ready, descend when ready, you don't have to report back.
Oh, okay.
But it's basically the same thing.
Because they say, if you want to descend now, descend now. If you want to descend later, descend later. Just descend when you feel that you will be able to reach this altitude at this point. So, for example, when you go to approach London, they usually say descend when ready, cross flight level 250 at Logan. So you do your calculations, whatever your FMC says, and you just descend because they just want you at flight level 250 at Logan. Or
Yeah.
you might hear descend by star.
Yeah, in that case, he just said when ready, descend, I don't know, 10,000, and he didn't give a waypoint. So that's what
Yes,
confused
so
me.
so that means that they did. So that means that the approach, whether it was star or vectors, didn't have any obstacle for other traffic, so you will clear to descend whenever you want it.
Okay.
Yeah, and one last thing, just remember when you start descending, you are not allowed, to go back before without having the clearance to do that. So if you like start descending and you say, okay, well, that was too soon, I will climb back, then you really need clearance for that again. Just to be perfectly clear, they are not giving you block altitude, they're really giving you a descent clearance, and when you start it, you need to keep descending. You can stop your descent in mid, fly level for a while and then continue descending, but you cannot climb back. All right, and now we come to the approach itself. Yes. All right. So today I picked this VOR approach, and I picked it exactly because of that we have quite a short lag here, so we need to start descending. If we are flying at 12,000 still, we need to start descending before Palmdale. It's also nice to calculate, when you need to descend. So from your ground speed or something, you can tell how fast you are going and how fast you want to descend. Just multiplicate that and calculate how much time you need to descend and how much or how many miles it will take you to get there. That I'll let on you to calculate. And I also picked that one because today I will do an exercise of actually not turning on my DME, because it says that you need dual VOR or DME. So I will forget that I have DME and I will try to fly it solely by dual VOR. And that means that I need to identify this urged intersection, which is the initial approach fix, by flying on the 2906 radial from Palmdale, and when I'm at the radial 055 from Lake Hughes, I know that it's the urged intersection there. When I then do my course reversal, it's going to be parallel entry, so I will continue flying for 1 minute and then do the 225-degree turn, something like that, to actually rejoin that course. If I still need to descend, further, then I can in the holding pattern, but I should tell ATC that I'm doing that if we have ATC. If not, I can continue after the final approach fix, which is also this urged intersection. It's also final approach fix by how it's denoted by this Maltese cross here. And then I have only 3 miles or 2.7 miles to reach the runway. And as you can see, we are coming, from the side of it. So we don't have any straight in minima, we have only circling minima. Now, how to know, that this missed approach point is Dusuk, which is 10.4 DME from Palmdale. But if I don't use my DME, how to know that Dusuk? Well, the only option is actually to time my final approach fix to missed approach point. And how do I do that? Today, visibility is going to be great, so you can actually see, we should be able to see the runway already from urged, to be honest. But let's say that the visibility was wrong, or maybe I will just put my head down, to focus on instruments, just for training purposes. So how do I know that? These times, these knots, so for example, if you are doing 120 knots, it will take you 1 minute and 21 seconds to get from final approach fix to missed approach point. If you are doing 90, it will take you 1 minute 48. But how do I know how fast I'm flying if I don't have a GPS, if I don't have a DME, and so on? And the short answer is you don't know for sure, right? But on this less than 3 mile distance, let's say that you can see that if you are doing 120 versus 150, it's a difference of 15 seconds. It's not that much. So if you are doing not 120 but 125, maybe it's like 3 seconds more, right? So it's not that significant, let's say, to time it, to know exactly your speed, but let's say that it's maybe good to know at least roughly what you're doing. And if you know, or if you plan to fly this approach already on the ground, you can do at least some preparation already on the ground before we depart. And I wanted to discuss, how you get from the airspeed that is shown in your aircraft to the ground speed that you are flying actually through the air. So wanted to take this opportunity to actually discuss these 4 speeds. But if I have copied some picture here that really indicates the process. So indicated airspeed is as called indicated. So that's what your airspeed indicator shows. Obviously, there might be some instrument errors, because if you are flying at a higher angle of attack or lower angle of attack, your airspeed will actually be slightly different, and every POH should have the conversion from indicated airspeed to calibrated airspeed, which would be indicated airspeed if there was no instrument error. So, you can imagine that if you have the pitot tube and you put it into the airstream at a different angle, then it will show something different, even though the aircraft will move exactly the same way, through the air. So that's calibrated airspeed. It usually differs by 2-3 knots. I believe the maximum I've seen on those lower speeds was like 5 knots difference. Maybe if you have like full flaps or something and flying really slow. But it's not that much, so for all intents and purposes, sometimes you can just forget that this exists, because the difference it will give you is like 2-3 knots, and you are not able to maintain precise airspeed anyway in the air, like to the knot. And then this is just what is indicated. Then you need to consider that you are flying at altitude where the air is not so dense as the sea level. If you are flying at sea level in a standard atmosphere, your calibrated airspeed exactly equals your true airspeed, right? So because that's how it's defined, the calibrated airspeed will show exactly how fast you are moving through the air. So true airspeed is the calibrated airspeed where you account for temperature and air density, right? For that, we again can use our friend E6P calculator, and let's say that on the approach we will be at 4,000 feet. What is the weather? Current. Use it this. We have a higher pressure there than is normal, so the pressure altitude will be a little bit lower than normally, and the airfield the elevation is about 2,300 feet. We have the 3,014, 30, 14, so that's 14 and 8, 22, so roughly 200 feet lower pressure altitude than the feet elevation. So let's calculate with 2,000 feet. Let's say that we have pressure altitude of 2,000 feet and the temperature there is 16 right now. So again, if I so let's say that I will use 4,000 feet on the final approach fix, right? So 4,000 feet, I will align that with, let's say 15 degrees or maybe 12 degrees, right? And so in order to fly 120 knots through airspeed, I need to find that here on the outer scale, 120 knots, and it tells me that my calibrated airspeed needs to be 112 knots, right? If there is no wind, obviously. So what it means for me is roughly that my true airspeed will be 8 knots above what my instrument shows, right? If I'm flying in this region. Then I have my airspeed indicator in miles per hour. So if I convert knots to miles per hour, it's gonna be roughly 130, right? So this is what I want to have on my airspeed indicator if there is no wind. If in the morning when I was looking at the wind forecast for 6,000 feet, it was actually showing 20 knots to the back. So that means that I would not be doing 112 knots if I flew 130, miles per hour. I would be doing 20 knots more. Here the prediction is that it's gonna be from the side of our approach, so I can safely calculate with no wind, into that, and I will aim to be at 130 miles per hour when I cross the final approach fix on this approach, and I will try to maintain that airspeed for this is in knots, so 110 knots is like maybe minute and 30 seconds, something like that. And I will fly minute and 30 seconds, and then I will look out and see if I can see the runway. Or I will look out sooner a little bit because it's probably 100 minute and 30 seconds will take me all the way to the runway, and it's basically good to see, before that you can see the runway. So that's how you recognize the missed approach point. Normally in the weather you would descend to MDA, which is 3,320 feet, and you will look out. And if 1 minute and 30 what you calculated pass and you don't see the runway at all or the environment, then you execute the missed approach procedure, which is to fly straight into Palmdale and then enter hold there, altitude 4,500 feet. Any questions to this approach?
Nope, seems doable.
Maybe I can ask at what point you can descend to 4,400?
I'd say after being aligned on the inbound course.
Exactly. So after you finish the procedure turn, then you can descend to 4,400.
You can do a procedure turn instead of flying a hold if you wanted to. Or do you have to fly an actual hold for one round?
No. This is something called this hold in lieu of procedure turn. So it's a course reversal, and I believe that you are entitled to do whatever course reversal as long as you do it on this side. So if you decide to do like the 45 as depicted, or you do this, it should be fine. But I would always try to stick, to what is published. The thing is that this procedure hold is kind of also there for whatever other aircraft that might arrive at the initial approach fix, from other direction, right? If you have like normal this maybe this 45-degree indication, where to do the procedure turn, that's usually for approaches that kind of always have the course reversal, or they started at some undefined point. So you cannot have aircraft actually flying to start of that procedure turn. But yes, you can basically reverse the course however you wish. It's an this is towered field, so more aircraft can be cleared for that, and you would have ATC service all the way down normally. So they would see you on the radar as well, what you are doing. One last thing I remembered to notice here, and just inform you. For example, you see that this is RNF procedure and RNF hold, and they are usually depicted as some distance, right, from Ocaso. It's not the distance of this leg, it's the distance from Ocaso. So, do you actually need to fly all the way there to be in the hold? The 7 miles is quite a long time, right? Quite a long hold, I would say. If you are doing, let's say 90 knots or something, it will take you how long? Almost 2 minutes to get there. If you're doing 60, no, actually quite a lot more. If you're doing, let's say 120 knots, then you will actually lose like 3.5 minutes to go there, right? If I calculate correctly. 2 miles per minute, yes. So do you need to go all the way there? Just stay, 3 minutes on one direction and then come back?
I think you can shorten it.
Yes, this is the outer limit. So you can do normal 1 minute holds here. Or even shorter, but then it's kind of hard to align, and then it becomes circles. So this is just the limit. You cannot do longer, but you can do shorter. It was in some directive from FAA, or some answer to some letter. So it's now. All right. Are there any more questions? It's been almost an hour, so sorry for that. I hope it's been informative. And we can go flying.
Right. Happy flying.
Right. See you guys in the sky.
Happy flying. All right, so let's start the plane and prepare for departure. Yeah, I will probably not load the procedure because it's a straightforward flight, just, continuing on the track. I will try to maintain it as much as I can, but it's not so crucial that I would need to do that in this weather. And I will try to identify the VOR and just continue from there. Okay, but I will prepare everything else. So first of all, I will not use the full mixture here because we are at almost 7,000 feet. So first let's check our fuel pump if it produces some fuel pressure. It does. Let's turn it off. One stroke on the primer. Our carburetor. And I believe that we are ready to start the aircraft. Beacon on. Everything clear. Prop. So let's go for it. Alright. Let's add a little bit of mixture. Looking for the oil pressure. It's in the green. Right, I will lower the RPM a bit. Now it runs smoothly. So I will lean that a bit. Save the cylinders a little bit. Avionics go on, navigation lights can go on. Let's synchronize the gyro, 3.5 or 3.49 or something like that. Oh, we were already there, kind of. Yeah, because we shut down aircraft facing this direction, so yeah. Trim. Great. Now, we need to file a flight plan, right? Because it's IFR. And guys, don't forget to file a flight plan actually today, because if you are going IFR, we need to have that.
Yep.
Roger that.
So, page expired. Really? Okay. Let's see what this is about. Alright, file flight plan. So, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie, IFR PA24. Flight equipment. Let's do Alpha again. Transponder departure. 35 KWJF. Is it? Hopefully. Yes. Altitude 12,000. Airspeed 150. Arrival. Oh. Block time. So it's 20. So 20. Let's say 40. It's gonna be off block, alternate no, en route time. We are going 50 minutes plus, yeah, 50 minutes. Fuel endurance, we have half tank, so we have at
I'm
least.
going to go first.
Go for it. Don't forget about the CETA frequency. And route details.
Oh my god, what is that?
CTF, I believe it's
122725.
Yes, yes. Right, and this is the route details, and I believe that's all I need to file. En route time, okay. So I should. I have a Squawk 5143, so I'll do that. Okay, getting misty there. So 5143, enter. Okay. Clear exit, yes.
Big Bear traffic, November 36 Foxtrot, flat dark cardiac, southern ramp, taxi to runway 08, Big Bear.
Okay, now frequencies.
Big Bear traffic, Comanche 29 Lima, on the ramp, taxiing to runway.
Just close as
28
many.
behind
I didn't want to. Yeah,
Big Bear.
didn't want to close that one. We need that. Okay. So to fly that, I will need the 115.15. So 115.5. Yes. And I will need 115.55. Oh my god. 5.5 and 115. Okay, that's strange that they have so close frequencies, so close together. All right, and in the standby one, I already will configure the lake hues 114.35. Yes. Timer there. We'll reset that one. That one. Winds are perpendicular to the runway, so we are going to take runway 8. It's actually 7.6, right? So that. All right, I believe that we can go. Big Bear traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie, the apron, Piper Comanche, and taxiing to runway 8. Big Bear. Okay, brakes are braking. I can probably close it now, at least one of them.
Oh, someone is on text, CTAF, and departing.
Yes, that's our chief.
Oh, okay.
Altimeter about 3014. Was it though? Yeah, 3014.
Big Bear traffic, cardiac 36 Foxtrot, departing runway 08, straight out departure, Big Bear.
Am I on the center line or am I not? Oh, I am. Yeah, flaps.
Big Bear traffic, Comanche 6529 Lima, departing runway 8, straight out departure, Big Bear.
And I will want to align myself with the radial. Is it 102? No, 329er. Radial 329er. So that 329er there.
Big Bear traffic, Kodiak 36 Foxtrot, upwind runway 08, 8000, climbing 11, 11,000, departing to the east, final call, Big Bear.
Alright. So I will do 2000 RPM and then I will actually lean the mixture to find the optimal setting. So I need to enrich a little bit. Okay, so I will use like that, something like that on the mixture for takeoff. Alright, so let's check magnetos. Okay, right one is good. Left one. Good. Now I will, yeah, let's cycle the prop a little bit. Right. Go to 1500. Check the carb heat. Yes. And idle. Alrighty. So, let's go for it. Big Bear traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie, departing runway 8, straight out departure. Big Bear. Nobody there. We have wind from the right, so compensate a little bit, or try to. Recently I had problems here in the sim reporting crosswind. It's trying to run afoul of me. And let's ease up on that. Airspeed is alive. Push back a little bit. Oh. Okay, accelerate. Gear goes up. One flap up. You have enough speed. Other flaps goes up. Alright. Fuel pump off. That's actually, yeah, we can see the terrain quite fine. So let's lower RPM just a bit. And we can lean. Not that much. We are good now.
I lost $10.
What was that?
Damn it.
Big Bear traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie, upwind runway 8 at 8,000 feet, climbing 2,000 feet. Big Bear, final call. Okay, landing lights can go off. And gear off. Right, engines running nicely. So I have full power. And RPM a little bit lower. Already 9,000 feet. We'll climb all the way to 12,000 today. We will actually need to tune in the 115.55 to the second one, because we'll need that to identify soggy. If we can get the signal, of course, because sometimes the MSFS will play as we don't have a signal from VOR, even if we should have. And let's switch to Unicom for the en route portion of the flight. Still climbing. We are at 10,500 right now. We are climbing like a rocket.
Pacific 2089, flight center on guard, immediate transition, call the center 125.57.
Oh, that was on guard actually. There. 1,000 feet to go. .500 feet to go, and the needle started moving, so it's probably time, since it is clear here, so I will just choose a better interception course. Okay, 12,000 feet. Accelerate a bit. Now we can let go a little bit. I won't go too low on the RPM at this altitude, maybe 2,100.
Can I ask a question? More like the opinion of Christian and Jean about a topic, a conversation I had with Thomas earlier. So, if you had to select a training organization in the scope of flight simming, would you select someone that will provide you the P rating, or someone that you will provide you with knowledge? What from the two is better to your eyes?
For me, it would be knowledge.
I guess I would say a rating gives me something to work towards. So it's the knowledge is a means to an end to get the rating. So it's not like a rating.
Okay, so if you could get the rating with half a knowledge,
Yeah, ideally, because if that's not so, like the knowledge should be a prerequisite to the rating. Otherwise, the rating is worthless in my eyes.
yeah, but all I'm saying is that let's say that there is a NATO, another training organization somewhere where you could actually get your P1, P2, P3, let's say much easier.
Wouldn't
No,
go there.
I still would not go that way. I prefer the knowledge.
And please be honest, because this is not a check. I'm trying to
Mm.
to see where we go.
Yeah, I mean, I need the rating as a motivator, but I want to learn something as well.
Yeah, the rating's a good goal, you know, and yeah, for motivation, yeah, exactly like Christian said. So it's good for that, but really, I'd really be doing it for the knowledge.
Jean, I cannot hear you very well. You're very low. I don't know if the rest of the people can hear you.
Oh, okay, I'll turn it up a little bit, but yeah, for me it's knowledge, you know. The P rating's a good goal, but knowledge is most important.
Okay. If because I like what you said, that the rating is the motivation. If there was an organization that could give you the rating easily with low standards, and then there are another organization that could give you the knowledge but no rating, what would you do?
Yes,
Be part of both.
yeah, I think it's a bit. I don't need a rating with no knowledge, but if I join an organization that only gives me no knowledge, I would lack the motivation to actually do targeted learning to get the rating. But if I had to pick one, because someone forced me with at gunpoint, I would pick the knowledge, obviously.
Well, you could do what Thomas said, go to both of them for
Yeah.
different reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, good question, Spiros. Just remember, here are guys that basically endure my hour-long, briefings because they want to learn something.
So it's not a representative
Yes.
sample.
Yes, exactly. But yes.
Anyway, I asked this discussion because I had a conversation with Thomas earlier. The VATSIM, I'm going to put a resume about it.
Just one thing, Spiros. Remember, I'm recording it and we'll be posting this, so just say only what you want to say on the video.
No.
Or say it afterwards.
So the network is considering relaxing the criteria for the ratings. And the thing is that so far we have put a lot of effort to prepare as much high standard as possible. And we had a discussion with Thomas to consider our position whether we should also drop the quality or keep the quality no matter what.
I mean, what's your goal, like with going forward? Do you want to provide quality training, or do you want to provide as many people with a rating as you can? I'm just gonna flip the question here.
We are both for option A.
Yeah, so you have your answer already.
Yeah. I even said to Spiros that if I were part of an organization that was actually just giving ratings, I would stop, being examiner at all, or even training people for that, because it wouldn't give me any joy.
It really makes sense. Relaxing criteria, doesn't it? Does it? I don't really see why. I mean, it's supposed to be an achievement, right?
Yes. Well, that's how we all here see it. Did you get your answer, Spiros?
Yes, I got the answer. All with the caveat that the sample is not representative.
Yes.
Why? Just to explain why we had this conversation. First, in order to see what is going to be our course as a community, as whatever. Right now, so far, we haven't, let's say, done any advertising, or we haven't done any launch, etc., because we wanted to prepare as much as we can for the good stuff. And yes, we are very late, actually, for mostly because each one of us, from time to time, we will have to deal with problems in our real life, and takes the mind quite a lot from the hobby. But there is also the practical part. In order to provide quality, it needs a lot of preparation. If the audience is not big enough, is not appreciated, sometimes you start thinking, okay, why am I doing this? How many people do I help? 2, 3, 5?
So
Because the purpose is to have, because our purpose is to help as much as possible. So in the size of hundreds of thousands, in order to make sense to spend all this time to prepare for the quality.
Well, I guess that's I mean, if you want to get more members, I guess you could publish or release like a minimum viable course. Like you don't have to offer all 4 ratings right off the bat. I mean, why not just start off with only in quotation marks offering a P1 course and maybe a P2 and add the P3 and P4 stuff later.
It's not that thing. It's about even in the P1, if you just want to get over with, it's a different than if you want to actually. So if you want to be specific for PPL, I have prepared a program that requires, if you know about it, 1 flight. If you need to learn it, you will need roughly 15 flights to get the knowledge.
Mhm.
But you will, yeah, but you will get the knowledge.
Yeah, sounds
So,
like a plan to me. Like a good idea.
so the question is, if people prefer, no, I will go there because in 2 or 3 flights I will get the P rating.
You just need to put this to the test, right? I would just assume that the VATSIM network is a network of enthusiasts. So assuming that, it follows that most people would go for the course that offers them more in the sense of learning experience and knowledge. Yeah, so I guess on the danger of repeating myself, the rating just provides a framework. It's just a set of requirements.
Yeah, so the
Don't
requirements,
really
the requirements are going to be lower than our training.
That's an ideal world, Christian. Unfortunately, what we have seen, like from some real examples on VATSIM, some people just want the rating and don't want the knowledge. I don't know why. I cannot really answer that, but there are those cases.
It's a question of who you want to be as an organization.
Yep.
Then I would just say, yeah, then go somewhere else and get the rating. You won't get it here, this way, period. And see how many people you are left with. Put it up to experiment.
Yeah,
It's the only way I can predict it.
yeah, the experiment is the final judge. But the thing, my only concern was that if you ask me, I would prefer to test, I would prefer to work with the person that wants to quality than the person that wants the P rating. If I have to choose between 2 students, one to one student, one class, the other student, the other class. But the thing is that in reality, you don't know how many you have in one class and how many you have on the other class. So the only concern I discussed with Thomas was if, let's say, our effort is going to have audience, or we're just going to do it for just a handful of geeks, and the effort is going to have very small impact.
It's well, it depends. Sorry if I keep repeating myself on what you want to do. I mean, you are putting all this free time into this project. What
Yes,
do you want to offer?
effectively, I wanted to see I'm trying to figure out whether to just go with the flow or keep the quality even if we remain small. I prefer the quality, but I don't want. Okay, so what was the concern was that we put the effort in the project, and effectively we don't do any good to a lot of people. So, although this is unpaid, effectively, we're doing it for our fun, but our fun, okay, let's say our currency is to make people happy, as many as possible through the quality. But if the quality as a product is not something that is going to be bought, hence we're going to get appreciated. Yes, we are also geeks. We're doing this for our enjoyment. If people don't enjoy the quality, then we don't get enjoyment.
So worried you, yeah, it will essentially fail because it will fail to gain traction with people because they, oh, it's too hard, I can't do this, just because they find difficulty to be too high. That's what you are worried about.
Or we need to find a way how to sell it properly, you know, to people. Sell the idea that it's actually worth it.
Well, you do it because you want to be more competent flying on the network. That's, at least that's what should be the motivation. How many people actually have this motivation is impossible to predict. So
Let me give you a small example. Even now, the standard says that
I'll just pause the conversation here because I wanted to explain that I identified apples here as an intersection of this 214 radial from from Daggett VOR, and next time will be IMSI, and I cannot actually identify IMSI from the radial, so it's gonna be Zoran, and that's also my time to start the descent because I made the calculation. So I will configure 172 radial from Edwards, and I will look for that, and then I will start my descent. And now on to the conversation.
okay, so it's not going to serve you for the network, but it's going to serve you for knowing what to do if this thing actually happens, because it's simulation. So we're trying to simulate the real life as much as possible.
I think you should teach that, because people spend actual money on aircraft with simulated failures. So if I spend money on an aircraft which simulates an engine failure, I would also want to know how to react in case of said simulated failure. So what you basically want to do is attract people that spend money on failing aircraft.
Yeah, I'm still more optimistic maybe than Spiros, and I think that we can like kind of intersect those two purposes.
Yeah.
That we can both have people that are willing to learn, and by definition, if we teach them more that they need for the rating, they will also be able to, you know, pass the ratings. But
I can give you an example that's less black and white, and that's myself. I do not spend money on aircraft that fail. This is, for me, it's a feature I don't want. But still, I appreciated at VATSTAR learning about it, even though I didn't need it. Because one day I might actually spend money on an aircraft that fails randomly. So one doesn't exclude the other. I don't really feel like getting one of those, but I still like learning about those. And even if I don't use the knowledge, yeah, oh well, then I just have to learn it once for the exam and then forget about it. And have a suitable aircraft somewhere farther down the line, I can just look it up. Because I still remember, oh, there was some procedure or something. So think of it like basic training, like planting a seed, maybe. It might grow differently for everyone, but it should still be a high quality seed.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Because I will never fly an airliner. I won't need P4, probably will never need it, or maybe in 20 years, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't offer a P4 course worrying, oh no, there might only be 4 people. So we are 4 really competent people, hopefully.
Interesting conversation.
Yeah. Been using the autopilot this entire time.
And yes, exactly, in order to fill the gap on a boring IFR flight.
Yeah, it's a straight line. It's a straight line this time, really. So.
My autopilot is a properly trimmed aircraft.
Ooh, there you go.
What's a trim?
What's a trim? Okay.
So this should. Your course should produce better results than me.
Believe it or not, some students that will come for an exam might not know what a trim is.
They fail, simple as that.
If only it was simple as that. But
yeah,
no,
they will go somewhere else, but then it's no longer your problem, is it?
Yeah. It is not. So it's 14 minutes.
ATC,
give or take.
if they know we are coming.
Is there an ATC?
No, that's why I'm wondering. Normally, always an ATC in LA. Well, always, not always.
Yeah, it was there before us, and it will be there when we land. Has the timer moved already in US? It did, right? Gene.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, it has.
Okay. Here we're playing God's moving time. Today I have an extra challenge because I need to identify every fix on the way by the cross radials from other VORs, because I play not having DME. And there's this IMSI, I'm not able to identify that one, so it's gonna be Zoran. Hopefully,
Yeah.
because I still don't have a signal from that VOR from Edwards.
Yeah, my challenge is doing a regular flight. I don't know if I'll ever reach the level of proficiency.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I still feel sufficiently, I don't know how to put it, mentally worked with regular flight, with GPS and everything.
Ah. Well, the thing is that today, almost every aircraft does have a GPS, so even mine has a GPS, but I paid, $80 for it, for the lifetime license, and all I'm using it for is a timer.
I made a timer for, like a timer button was spat next for my Stream Deck, so just and I can start and stop and stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
Obviously, I fly, the GFS approach from time to time and use it, so that's fine. But I just find it more fun, in the simulator to just use the raw data from the VORs while they are still around.
Yeah.
I will take advantage and ask another poll question. What is the preference? The training should be US based or all over the world?
I'm up for all over the world.
I'm guessing
Okay, to
international.
be honest, not all over the world, half of the world. Okay.
Okay, that's good enough.
I mean, US makes a lot of sense because you get all the charts for free.
You can have the charts for free in many, many, many countries.
Yeah, that's true.
Just not Canada.
Just not Canada. I think it's also mostly free in Germany.
Well, the VFR, they become free very lately.
Yes, but it's there now. So now I have the signal. I just, for the fun of it, will measure how far it measures. Okay, so it's that one of those that really measures just 25 nautical miles. Which might be correct because it has that T in it. So, yeah, it's actually good. But it's gonna be Zoran and I will need to start to descend at that point.
So everybody have passed me. I left first and now I'm last.
Well, you have the, fixed stick. And lower power. But you will also spend less money, maybe, on the flight.
Yeah. Today I thought to come with a humble Cessna rather than my usual extremes.
Like DC-6 and so on.
Yeah.
Would it even be able to take off from the runway? DC-6?
I think so. I have done worse. The DC-6 has a very peculiar set of engines. So they are rated for each engine for 1,100 power horse, but not continuously. Sustainably, you only have 600, but there is a system to cool the engines for a few seconds, let's say half a minute, and that is called wet takeoff, where you inject water in the cylinders, not in the cylinders, actually around the cylinders.
Water?
It's a mixture of water and glucose, and that allows you for, let's say, 30 seconds or maybe 45 to put full power,
Oh.
full power, and even exceed the limits in order to take off. And that's what I have used when I want to take off full loaded from high airports.
Interesting. So that's the level of knowledge you would get when properly training. Right?
That's
Yeah.
what we're paying for.
I must have missed your check.
Oh my
I
god.
did write you a check over $0.
Yeah.
So I have started my descent and will try to keep it at 500 feet per minute, and let's see if I arrive where I want it to. Right, so we are descending roughly, maybe a little bit faster. So
I just realized I
is
was
the next
muted.
one. And from Palmdale, we should arrive at Palmdale in about just 6 minutes. Really close. Is it actually enough to descend that far? We'll see, we'll see. And then we're starting the approach there. So then it's gonna be 296, and I will already configure this 114.35. So 114.35, and prepare the radial.
Interesting anecdote. I
055.
personally do not mind doing a lot of practice flights. I don't know how many times I've practiced traffic patterns until I could kind of, sort of, probably fly the Warrior. I think I did 4 or 5 patterns every evening for 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, the practice flights were crucial for me. I mean, I couldn't have done it without the practice flights.
Yeah. It was frustrating at times, but I think it really helped me.
Yeah, they helped me out quite a bit.
And you speak about the practice flights at Vatstar?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Been doing an exam together, right, Gina? I believe.
I'm sorry?
We've been doing an exam together, right, at Vatstar, Gina?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Was it
Yeah,
P1 or
you,
even P2?
Both of them.
Both of them, okay.
Yeah.
I even haven't passed you on the first try, right? At one occasion.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
On P2, I failed the first try. Yep.
Okay. No hard feelings.
That's maybe that's why the check hadn't shown up yet. No,
Oh, okay.
I'm sure it's in the mail.
Gotcha.
No, it was all it was very enjoyable, the whole thing.
Glad to hear it.
Very, very educational. You know, I never got my IFR rating in real life, you know, so I always thought, maybe I could do it on on VetSim and just pretend. So it's kind of fun for me that way.
Yeah, it might be more difficult to get, you know, properly proficient in VFR flying in the simulator, apart from real life. But I still believe that IFR is actually easier in the simulator than in the real life.
It probably is.
What do you mean it is easier?
You don't have spatial disorientation in the sim, and it's kind of all the instruments are so stable.
Yeah.
So that's what I meant.
Okay, I understand. Because I would say something not the same, but maybe relevant. The IFR flying in the simulator is very close operationally to the real life. So what I'm trying to say is that if you fly VFR in the simulator, there are quite a lot of things that you need to do in the real plane to actually fly, to be a pilot. So let's say the overlap is the practice that you can replace for VFR in of the real life in the simulator is, let's say, 50-60%. But for IFR, you can replace a lot more.
Yes, I was speaking like practically what is easier to fly, you know. Easier to fly it in the simulator, I think, than in real life, at least in those small aircraft. That's what I feel, at least.
To me, for stick and rudder flying, it's easier the real life.
Well, that goes without question.
Because you have the feeling of the punch, you feel the forces, you hear a lot of things, you feel the tremble. In the simulator, you are very cut off from the sensing.
Yeah. By the way, 118.525 is the frequency on the arrival. I'm getting into that turbulence that spoke about. But at 12,000 feet, the ride was perfectly smooth.
Fox traffic, Kodiak 36 Foxtrot, 3 miles final, for a circle to land, runway 08, left traffic, Fox traffic.
We're probably not on final, right?
It looks like he is.
Is he? Like aligned with the runway already?
Oh, not
Then
not
it's
that kind of.
then it's not a final.
I guess you're right. Yep.
But let's discuss it on the ground. I also have full capacity I need to dedicate to approach right now. Right, so I'm trying to fly on this 2906
Fox traffic, Kodiak
radio
36 Foxtrot, turning left downwind, runway 08, Fox.
and waiting for this to align, indicating to me that I'm at the urged intersection. And when I am, I will start timing. Will actually stop it. Timing 1 minute. And perform a parallel entry. I can still descend all the way to 5,000 feet here, and when I align back I want to be at 4,400, and also I want to slow down to 130, what I planned for, in order to...
Fox traffic, Kodiak 36 Foxtrot, turning left base, runway 08, Fox.
Yeah, in order to actually be able to time the lag. The wind is reported as 100 at 10, gusting 20 knots.
Fox
Yeah, it's
traffic,
gonna be runway
Kodiak
08.
36 Foxtrot, turning fine, runway 08, full
Is it
stop.
08 or is
Fox
it
traffic.
06? It's actually 06. Fox traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie to the other station. Did you mean runway 06?
Fox traffic, negative. I meant, oh, you're right, it's 06. Correction, final runway 06, full stop, Fox traffic.
Okay, I'm getting closer to urge. 5,000 feet. I can go all the way to 4,500.
I think I must
for
have
this.
copied from the wrong chart, from the departure chart.
I actually arrived where I wanted to be. That's good to know. I go all the way to 4,500 while in the hold. I'm really looking just at the instruments right now. Alright, let's time 1 minute. And then I'll do a left turn. I know that you might not believe me, but really looking just at the instruments right now. Half a minute more. Eight seconds. Okay. So here goes the left turn.
Fox traffic, Kodiak 36 Foxtrot, runway 06, vacated, taxiing to parking, Fox traffic.
Okay, 4,500. I will use that to actually slow down a bit. Okay, 116. There we go. Doesn't want to slow down, so I'll just add a little bit of RPM. I'm aligned, so I can go to 4,400. Almost aligned, but within the scope. I'm doing a correct airspeed right now, so let's trim for it. This is urged, so timer, start, and let's go down. 3,300. Fox traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie, around 3 miles west of the airport on the approach, and will join the downwind runway 06 Fox traffic. Seconds more. Going a little bit slower than I anticipated. No, but if I can look up now. Alright. Fox traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie, entering right downwind runway entering left downwind runway 06. Fox traffic. Fox traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie again, correction, I'm overflying the field and will enter right downwind runway 06, Fox traffic. Yeah, it's too close already and started to turn in the wrong direction. But anyway, fuel tank and 1. Landing lights on. Nobody in the traffic pattern, good. Do full mixture. Left tank is good. Fox traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie, entering right downwind runway 06. Fox. A little higher than I should be. Can descend a bit. Okay, gear goes down, as well as flaps 1. Gear indication is green. Fox traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie, turning right base, runway 06, Fox. We'll drop the second notch. The winds are probably from the right. We'll see. Gear is still down. Brake pressure. Fox traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie, turning final, runway 06, full stop landing, Fox.
Fox traffic, Comanche 6529 Lima, making a 3-mile left base for runway 6, Fox.
No brake used. Brakes used so far. Even need to add a little bit of power.
Fox traffic, Comanche 6529 Lima is final for runway 6, full stop, Fox.
Fox traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie, runway 06 is vacated and taxiing to parking, Fox. How come those guys started appearing to me again? I'm gonna ignore him. Actually, for the fun of it, let's check if they're able to actually give proper indications. Let's run him over. Well, I'm standing kind of a strange place. Let's see. Okay, it is actually parking. Okay. I'll live with it. Oh, he disappeared. Alright then. So let's check, shall we? Flight plan, route description. Okay, still have that one. Yes. So, as far as route goes, look at it, even without GPS. Yeah, turned a little bit sooner, but because it's so far away that it took some time. Yes. That was fine, and let's see, course reversal. It's actually... Where is it? Oh. There we go. Show arrival, we did the VOR, transition PMD, and inward approach. We flew that. When we crossed this one, we did 1 minute, more or less, then made a turn, aligned back again, more or less. I thought that I was a little bit... Well, yeah, I was to the right, and then finally got onto course. So I will call it a success. Okay, I believe that was a good flight, a good conversation. Yeah, not eventful. Made it without the DME, was able to identify the fixes, time the lags. So when I see that, instead of 14 minutes, yeah, I took like almost 14, then a little bit less. So I believe that it's quite spot on, to be honest. So thank you for watching. Have a nice time, safe flying, and see you next time. Bye bye.